Hello, hello, and welcome. So happy to have you with us here this afternoon in Happy Homes and Hearts group. If you have not had a chance to join our group, I highly recommend Happy Homes and Hearts here on Facebook. Amazing group of incredible women coming together to support each other in this journey called life. It is a wonderful group, and I'm so excited that Susannah will be joining us here to talk to us about how to create a sustainable marriage. And as we all know, that is no small task. And she has 25 years in the field, and she knows a lot of what's working, and we love it when she can share that with us and give us, the scoop about what is working. Because as you know, this group is all about what is working in our modern marriages. What can we bring forward from the best morsels of research, and what can we do to help understand ourselves better and also understand our partners, and how we can really show up in a way that we sure for ourselves in our life. There she is. Hello, hello.
Hi, I think this sort of kind of worked.
It's always a miracle after what, 15 minutes?
Right.
17.
Do I look completely distorted, or is it just me?
Oh, you look great.
I feel like
You
I'm
look
taking
beautiful.
up the entire screen.
Are you going like a vertical, or are you going
Horizontal.
horizontal?
Yeah, horizontal, but that's okay.
I asked you to use your earbuds, and guess what? I just plugged mine in. I know that will help
Yeah,
with
and
the audio quite a bit.
unfortunately, with this Android device, it's only Bluetooth earbuds work with this particular device, which I don't have. So,
Perfect.
I mean, I can hear you.
Hey,
Hopefully everyone can hear us.
perfect. You can hear
Awesome.
great. You're sounding great. You look great.
Great.
We're in great shape.
Thank
So let
you.
me tell us a little bit about Susannah. So happy. Is that how am I saying your name right?
Susanna.
Susannah?
Yes,
Susannah. And how do I pronounce your last name again?
it's
Remind me.
Medeiros.
Medeiros. Thank you.
Medeiros. Yeah.
So Susannah Medeiros, welcome, welcome. We're so happy that she's here with us. She has been married almost 25 years.
25
She
years,
is
two
the
weeks
mother.
ago.
2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, excuse me. That was when we first met. It
Yeah.
was almost.
Yeah.
So very excited for 2 weeks ago, 25 years. No small thing. That it to me is like, woo!
Yeah. Kind of a big deal.
Celebration time. That's really
These days, it's
something.
kind
I
of a
think.
big deal.
Oh my,
Yeah.
such a big deal. No small thing at all. So she's passionate about family. Very obvious that that's true about her community and small business. She has a mother of three, as I mentioned, which is also no small thing. She is. She went through a difficult life stage, and I think all of us, resonate with that on one level or another. That we all get to go through these difficult life stages, and what it does for all of us is force us to reinvent ourselves personally and professionally, and that is exactly what Susannah has done. And that's what I love talking to her about, is how it is that we do this reinvention, and then we come up with something so much better. It's almost like that phoenix that rises from the ashes and is so
Absolutely.
much more than we ever imagined we could
Absolutely.
be.
Sometimes things
This
need to get worse before they get better.
Yes, and to really embrace that, to me, is the magic of the journey. And I
Mhm.
love that we can share those moments out and really kind of be vulnerable about, yeah, we had a really rough patch, but back on track, and
Right.
even better than before. And
Right.
that's the beauty of what we're all coming forward here to share. And that's what's so exciting about this whole casting that we're doing. So this Family Matters magazine, in some respects, was part of that emergence. Is that true? Is that kind of how that came forward?
Absolutely. It was a result of, me about 10 years ago, I went through a very difficult health scare, life change, life stage, you could call it. Just a matter of taking on too much, just not taking time for me and not taking time to get to know me, both in my marriage, with my family, with my kids, with my marriage, with work, with you name it. And it did get to a point where I did suffer. I guess what some would call, apparently a nervous breakdown is a real thing. And
Yeah.
it had me almost bedridden for almost 6 months and unable to really look after anyone, let alone myself. So yeah, once I was better and ready to go back to work, I was sort of lost. Didn't know what I
Yeah.
loved and didn't know what I was interested in and what I wasn't. And anyway, I took my three passions, which is family. Professionally, I absolutely love marketing and advertising. And I love, love, love community, and took those three. And that's how Family Matters magazine was born. So it's a
Beautiful.
family focused and community centered
Oh,
publication here in Milton, Ontario, Canada. that has come to be very well respected. And it's my baby, and I'm really proud of it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We're very proud of you.
Thank you.
So amazing. It's extraordinarily inspiring to hear someone, like you said, just take kind of the low times and create the big, the moments where everything is now something that we're very proud of, we're very excited about. It's worth, the community is reaping the benefits of your willingness to go to the depths and find that place inside and really find that power within and reignite it into something really extraordinary.
Absolutely.
And it truly is serving on a deeper level than we probably could have ever done before when, like you say, when you were younger and probably didn't have that self-reflection and that real solid feel of who you are, what you're about. Powerful share. So thank you for that. So she combined her passions to create this career and business opportunity, and she strives to balance family, work, and the best of her ability. Even though her children are now grown, she puts a lot of focus on daily home cooked meals, which, woo! I have to say, I still have children at home, and that's not my best gift.
Yeah.
So daily home cooked meals is a big deal.
Yeah.
Family dinners at the table, extraordinary. I make sure that happens often, but not near often enough. And then, of course, almost every night, wow, I had to just put this lots of exclamation points around that because I think that's really a lot harder than some of us think.
I would say about 5 days a week.
Ooh, yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent stars all across the page for that one. That's A+ for my book.
Right on.
So being at a later stage of parenthood, we did talk a little bit about the empty nesting, and I don't want you to be afraid to talk about that because I do believe there are many women as our listeners that are, wondering, what do I do now if my babies are grown and, kind of my whole world has been about them. Now what? So she is taking time to explore her own interests. She's enjoying more time with her husband, which I can say that is where it's at right there. Her children are becoming obviously more independent. So now she's kind of like, okay, let's find out what's going to create sustainability, even though and even when things shift. We all get to go through these moments where it's kind of the ebb and flow of change. And we're going to be discussing today some amazing topics, 4 of them being, or 5, let's see, 5 topics: taking care of each other, not being afraid to be old-fashioned, which I absolutely love that one. Supporting each other's dreams, which is another really important one. Finding common interests. So you want to stick around, those of you that are with us, because you're going to get some really great morsels on all these topics. Surrounding ourselves with people that respect their own marriages, which I think is a huge one. And then, of course, putting our partner above other things, including at times our children, which is not easy to do.
Not easy to do.
Children are always
little
first,
anyway.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, but yet there's just times where it's like, okay, sweetheart, I know you'll be fine. We'll be back.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and they may not like it, but it actually is for their own good and for our own.
Absolutely.
Like I was telling one partner or a couple recently, your marriage is going to be there when they're gone. So you get to make it a priority, even though it's not easy. Yeah. So we'd love to get started here. Susannah has some really great morsels to share with us, and we're going to start with that taking care of each other, even if it's kind of old-fashioned, even if our best friend doesn't understand. Tell us about what you were thinking on that one, because we want to hear the morsels.
I think that, and I'm going to start by saying, and I thought about this morning, is how can I sort of introduce this topic? And don't judge me, but one of my favorite shows of all time.
Of course, we're going to judge you. We all judge. But
Go ahead.
But it'll be in the right way, right? We're like, this is good. This is good stuff. Talk more. Tell us more.
One of my very favorite TV shows of all time was Little House on the Prairie. And I always as a little girl, even today, still admired Carolyn and Charles Ingalls and their marriage, and the way that they did things. And the way that they did things probably wouldn't work today. We live in a very, very different life. And different lifestyles. However, I think that the basis and the core of the way that they handled their marriage could really still work today if we're not afraid to be old-fashioned. And by that, I mean, my parents, I was raised in a household with both my parents as well. And my parents were raised very old-fashioned, and we were European. And, the woman is still doing a lot of the household chores like Carolyn Ingalls did. And the man still goes out and brings home the bacon, or however you want to see it. And today that doesn't always work. I mean, I'm not an idiot. I get that. However, it's when I mean by take care of each other and don't be afraid to be old fashioned is, for 25 years, I've been getting up in the morning at 6 a.m. and I will make my husband's lunch while he makes us both coffee. and we chat. You know, when the kids were little, I really appreciated that time because it was our time to be together before the day got crazy, before the kids were, you know, demanding things of me, mostly, not him. And it was our time to sort of connect, and before we went our separate ways for the day. And I mean, our kids are older now, and my husband's fully capable and always has been fully capable of making his own lunch. But I still get up and I do that for him every morning. And I do that not necessarily because we need that time anymore, because we spend quite a bit of time together now that our kids are 24, 22, and 17. It's kind of just become a habit. And it's one of those things I do to show him that I appreciate him. And the other day I was telling someone, it was actually an older lady that I was telling this to, that I wake up every morning and I make my husband his lunch for 25 years. I do this Monday to Friday. And she just was appalled that I would do this for him, almost, you know, just not impressed that I would do this for him. Why would any woman do this for a man? And there were two things that came to mind. Number one, if the tables were turned and he was doing it for me, I'm sure that her reaction would have been, oh my gosh, how sweet. How sweet that he's making her lunch or her breakfast or whatever it is every morning. But when a woman does it for a man, it's often frowned upon these days. So I think number one is, don't be afraid to be a little bit old fashioned. And, you know, we don't have to be so feminist in our marriages all the time. That doesn't always work. You know, the other thing that nobody, you know, that she didn't mention when I told her that I make breakfast every morning, or rather lunch every morning for my husband, was, what about the fact that he's been getting up every morning, Monday to Friday, for 25 years and going out there with that burden on his shoulders that he needs to make ends meet here at home and give everybody that what we need here at home. Nobody's worried. Nobody's worried about him. They're worried about me getting up at 6 a.m. and making a lunch. Right?
Yeah.
So again, don't be afraid to be old fashioned. Don't be afraid to do things for each other, because while I'm making his lunch, he's making my coffee. And if I fall asleep on the couch in the evening and I need a nap, and you know it's chilly in the house, he'll go over and grab a blanket and cover me with it. It's give and take.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's how it's done. That is so beautiful. I really, really appreciate the share. And I also appreciate that we kind of get to navigate a world where they may not agree. And that's okay too.
Absolutely.
It may, you know, our friends might not agree,
and I think,
or, you know,
and I think it's
neighbors
important.
might not agree, but you do what works for you.
Absolutely. And I think it's important that I say too that I'm, you know, by no means am I a marriage counselor or a marriage expert or an expert in anything really. I just know what works for my marriage and what doesn't. And that's all I can share today. But I have a feeling that it will resonate with someone. And if it does, then this time together was worth it.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what we're here for. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because there are people out there looking for a place to turn, and that's exactly what we want to be, is that place where they can go for great insights, reminders, resources, when they are looking for a way to have a sustainable marriage and they're not even sure how.
Right.
Because there's nowhere to turn. There's nowhere to go for good advice. Even, you know, the Laura Ingalls Wilder books are now being, you know, in some cases being attacked. And it's like, well, there's actually some good values there that we want to maintain, because we can see something that resonates and works for us. So for all of our listeners, remember, you got to find what works for you. It may not be the same. It may not be the same on any channel, but to find what works is the point.
Absolutely.
And in Susannah's case, she's finding what works. And I happen to resonate with her message very strongly with a 31-year marriage in November.
Oh,
which to me is powerful.
Huge.
Just like a evidence of, hey, this is working. We're finding what is working for us, and we would love to share that. That's the point here. So thank you so much for sharing that. We'd love to hear more. Tell us about supporting each other's dreams and even finding common interests. We'd love to hear more about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, as far as supporting each other's dreams, I think what I mean more by that is supporting each other's growth. And dreams, I mean, realizing dreams is really just part of growth a lot of the time.
Yes.
You know, when you first get married, your priority is your children. You don't, a lot of the times when we're so young, I mean, we were 24 when we got married. It's not super young, but young enough to really not know who we were and not know what our interests were and our dreams and our goals and our aspirations. And as far as growth went, we weren't even scratching the surface when we first got married. But now, you know, in our 40s and our kids are growing older, and, you know, I know that on my end, I'm always looking to grow in all areas of my life. And I know that Dan, my husband's name is Dan, maybe we should give him a name.
Yes.
Dan is always
a good
name. For growth and surrounding himself with people in situations that he can learn from and grow into be a better, stronger, faster, better husband.
Not sure how we lost her. I'm going to do my best to bring her back in. So we'll just do part 2. That's usually our best bet. So we'll go ahead and share this one.